Hey, Alex here. Back in the hot seat after a week off. I was playing live out the last Saturday and was kind of pretty exhausted after a long stint of doing stuff and felt I needed a few days just to recharge. And I feel like I could probably do another week off, to be honest. But I'm going to crack on, and that's probably because I've lost a bit of momentum, um, which is inevitable when you take a bit of time off. It's much easier to keep going when you're going than to start when you've stopped. So that's a good kind of creative, moral or creative a way to live your creative life by is kind of slow and steady, consistency, small steps, and you'll make progress over time. This morning, I am going to do a bit of organisation. I'm going to listen back to some tracks that have been in progress for a while now. I'm going to work out what I want to do with those, or what steps I need to take over the next couple of weeks to kind of make progress to finish them. I am going to listen back to them. I'm going to make a checklist, tidy up my Trello board. I don't know if I'll get around to any production this morning, but this is just as much of part of the process, and maybe it's useful for people to see how I think about things. Well, I certainly get benefit from watching others kind of go through their creative thinking. Um, and yeah, that's what I'm going to do this morning. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon. It's still pretty small at the moment. The channel's kind of slowly growing, and I'm really grateful for everyone who pledges on there, even at this kind of the pledging level. It's really great support. There's some extra content that I share on there. Try and do something every month. Just kind of working out as I go. But more importantly, it's thanking the people who already support me on there, and there's quite a few now. So thank you very much. You're appreciated, and you help me stay inspired. So, Jarsan, how are we? How are we doing? Just looking at my internet. My internet was just terrible last night. I think it seems alright this morning. I'm good, thanks. Hope you are as well. Um, yeah, I was supposed to be teaching last night and just wasn't working. We have had a festival here recent, like over the last few days, and I'm worried that, or I think that maybe there was some bandwidth issue just because so many people are here with mobile phones. Could be that. So I have got my Trello board here, and I just was talking about this off stream on a short video. This is not mine. This is stolen from Mike Monday or something that he teaches. His content's really good music production, coaching, stuff like that, creative process content for music producers. Check his stuff out. Credit where credit's due. Uh, so I've done a few. I did a few splurges, but I'm not going to listen to them yet. These ideas have been sat in draft for long enough, and I kind of feel like I'm ready to at least put them in here and kind of make the steps to finish them, or to call them. They're certainly the kind of thinking going from draft to done is that you want to finish things in done. You want to get them to release, and I certainly do. I don't want to deal with even think about these at the moment. These things in Discover, so I'm just moving those to my sketchbook. I'm having a bit of a clear up. These release ones, as far as I'm concerned, I've sent them out to a few labels and stuff recently, so they're going in here. They're going in here. I'm certainly not thinking about them anymore. Cool. So we've got the things in done now. All right, so I've had a bit of a clearer, and the next few weeks are going to kind of really be digging into these and working, getting them uh, into release. Uh, Release being things that you want to you want to release. I mean, done from going from draft to done, kind of the big conceptual ideas are there, and I feel like they kind of are for these, or certainly very close, and I can move them back if I want to. So I am just going to write big beats. I'm just going to go through each of them, and I'm going to make a real like methodical checklist. Big beats, fine, right. I know that all I want to do on this is mix. You could be more specific and say like then 45 minutes mixing, doing a rough mixing down, mixing, then 45 minutes mixing, and then I might take it and play it out or send it to some people, or just kind of have it in my arsenal. But for now, I'm just going to put what I understand, and that's probably like mix. Spend one session, which is kind of mixing down. Yeah. All right. That's straightforward enough. Hey Blaketown, how are we doing? Yeah, so I'm not going to listen to that. The rest of these I am going to listen to. I've had a kind of clear week of not really listening to any music or listening to anything. Just kind of clear out my head a little bit. So 22. I think these are all in draft anyway. So yeah, this one is going to be listening, making notes, and just carrying them out over the next couple of weeks. 602, 3. All right, here we go then. So I will mute myself while we listen to this, and then we'll. Well, one of the important things to mention now is how I listen to this, and I don't make notes during the process of listening. The idea being that you're more prone to just follow your thoughts about the music rather than listening to the music itself, if you see what I mean. And I think everyone knows that feeling where if you do that, you kind of end up missing what's happening as you're making notes. And really, it's better to rely on your memory once you finish listening and what you're thinking about after you've heard it through and kind of experienced as one thing. Because I think we all have a tendency to over edit if we're just focused on like 1 second after the next. And often you don't need to do that. The music can achieve the same thing without you having to kind of. For a listener, they don't experience it second by second. It's almost like a whole living, breathing thing that they experience. They don't experience like bar by bar the way a producer does. So really, why do we make it in that way? And there's definitely a time and there's definitely points where you want to do that to achieve a specific effect. Like if I might want to chop a break up really meticulously and spend time programming it in. But actually, I kind of do the programming quite quickly, and I might dig into like certain end of bar phrases and how I achieve the phrasing. But I'll only do that if it's necessary. I won't just kind of dig in second by second because I feel I should, and because I've been listening. That's why if you listen in a door, you're going to end up doing stuff like that because you're watching the music and you're watching all your channels and all your effects and stuff. You're more bothered about that than what the tune's doing. So yeah, all right. Enough said on that. Let's give this a listen. This is receiver, and then we'll make some notes. Yeah, okay, so that was receiver, and like my initial thoughts on that are, what are they? Let's try and put these down to words somehow. What I'm feeling. So I really like the intro. I like and this is kind of good. I'd like focus on what you're enjoying about it first. I like the intro. I like the kind of the really glitchy breaks and kind of how they're coming in. Um, it feels like there could be some kind of reverse symbols or sounds to usher those things in, but I'm probably not going to make a note of that for now, because it's hey Uber. Yeah, this is there'll probably be a lot of chat on this one, and like, but yeah. So okay, yeah, I'm not. I don't. I try and focus on the problems. I don't think I don't think again. This is a Mike Monday thing, like problem based kind of problem solving when you're later on with in the later stages with a piece of music. And I don't think it's a problem that there aren't sounds like this at the moment. I think the kind of moments that happen deliver without even necessarily having those sounds in. And really, stuff like that can just be a bit of ear candy. It's not like the overarching melodic idea and the notes, which are more important, certainly for how a piece of music affects someone. They're not just thinking, shit, I would like that. I like that, but it would have been good if there'd been a reverse cymbal or a noise riser or something there. All that stuff is kind of like is scenery, really, and we're more about the journey. All that stuff is just what you're looking at out the window, but like this is about where we're going, and I think so. I think the main thing is we kind of introduce that with this big, almost like symphonic kind of overarching pad thing that comes in. And I'm thinking there is a problem between how that transitions into the end, or how that moves into the end from the beginning. I like the kind of way it's almost a bit like ravey and hypnotic, and it builds up to this kind of, we slowly introduce this melodic idea, and then how do we kind of move from that into the ending. I like the amen happening. I think that's good, but I'm almost thinking like we could what I am hearing is that when we're in that it would nice to be kind of like just have everything else completely clear, and so what can we call that, middle pad melody transition, or it's like the kind of the ending, isn't it, or the breakdown. Now you can be really like divergent here, and you can list everything you think you might like to try, and then choose what you're feeling most. I'm going to skip the listing everything breakdown section. What I'd like to hear is sustained bass idea on the same pad sound coming in once everything once rhythmic element. Get rid of myself. Been faded out. Same bass line there coming. What I'd like to try as well is like a pitch drop bass, like a doom, that kind of thing. Pitch drop bass sound before the above comes in. So breakdown section. Explore. We're kind of getting some variations happening. Explore variations on the main stat, like the doom doom ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum. It's doing like some kind of variations exploring on the main stuff before breaks come back in. Fade bass out or stop playing the notes before amens come back in. I mean, and this is kind of like a critical point actually, because like, the kind of archetype of like an amen outro is done a lot, and yeah, it works, but like, is there a better way to deliver on this, on the payoff of kind of that section of that big symphonic do 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 do. You know, could you just go back to the break? Could you just go back to the break you'd had before? And would that be? I mean, essentially, it's kind of like, you can. I probably won't do this, but just as an example, you know, if you've got a track and you're like, I'm not sure what I want to try, well, you could try both. You know, you could try both ideas and export both, and listen, and on listening back, kind of choose what you think is working most. I think I kind of like the I like the amen there, but I feel it could it's coming in too early, and that there's not enough drama, there's not enough tension before it comes in. It kind of just comes in once the other things have faded out, and that there needs to be more made of the melodic ideas and building up the tension that way, with the rising pad element. More needs to be made of that before the amen comes back in. So I think really that's kind of like the main thing I want to try with this, and that's certainly enough for the next session anyway, and then we can repeat the process. So I think we can move on from that track now, unless there's kind of anything I'm thinking. Otherwise, I don't think I am. You know, like, I could I'll tell you what, I'm, for the sake of argument, I'm just going to make a note about this, like, reverse sounds dash riser elements, because stuff like that, right? It's not the track does not hinge. The track never hinges on stuff like that, ever. You know, it's not like you can add that stuff in at any point, right? A drop, like, some, yeah. Think of your favourite club music and stuff like that, and you're not going to be like, it's just that bloody riser sound that, like, I mean, it is important, but it's more about, like, it's more the groove and all the other stuff that's way more important than like a or a cymbal. I can add that shit in at any point, you know. So it's sometimes it's more these questions, these big questions, like, does the track work as a concept, and does the arc of the track work? I mean, you can even get much more specific about what's actually happening at the moment, and the kind of, to me, this sounds like a kind of late night hypnotic, rave, like a club track, or post an after party track, or a, like, a calm down track. Yeah, but that's certainly what I want to explore for the moment. I know I want to try those things, and nothing else coming to mind, so I'm just going to do that. Right, let's move on. We're going to look at. Did I work on that? I wasn't even on the right one there. It's okay, because it was the same. To listen to the latest version. All right, so we got receiver. The master bit force was the next one, wasn't it? Yes, right, bit force. So that's not right. Let's just take that. This is just when I last worked on it, so I know and I can tick them off as I work through them. Quite a few sessions on this one, and I think, well, let's just listen back to it.
Shut down Babylon. 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 Shut down Babylon.
I've just realised there's a missing sound in it in this version, so I'm going to quickly open it and export it, and then we'll give it a listen at the end. I remember that from, because I did have a cheeky listen of them, like probably last week or something. So I'll just export. Real life, people. This is real life music production. There would have been a time where I was like, I can't be bothered to even open the session and export it again. this is another benefit, like just over time, over the years of doing it, you get like your listening improves obviously, but also you're able to kind of make progress even with tracks that you kind of not sure about. And I know that my feelings about any particular track I work on or finish, they change day to day every time I listen back to it and throughout the process, you know. One note on that already that I know is that definitely that first. These are all working titles, by the way. I'm not going to call it Master Bit 4. So it's just. I don't know, you might like that. Master Bit 4. So, bass intro. I think it works where it comes in. I don't like the kind of bass intro. I don't think the think the part I think the part 4 works. Think this is a problem because not enough tension is created before the bass comes in. Yeah. What I could try there is what I could try is the drums fading out completely. I could try just a drum fill. Yeah, that could be enough. Just like a drum, like kind of just a drum fill with the sounds already there. That would certainly be the easier option, you know. Okay, that's fine. There's a couple of options. I'll see how I feel when I'm in the session. So, what happened here then? Something. Right, did I just have it? Because I got rid of all that stuff. I don't know, something happened. Let's get export that. That little Moog thing wasn't there for some reason. I'm going to put it in done. I'll just have it overwrite the previous. Yeah, because I think in the one we were listening to, I'm pretty sure from memory it doesn't come in. Well, we've done it now. We'll listen to another one and then come back to that one. So Master Bit Force. Hypnotize. Like Total Cuba. Maybe I should just call you Nick. Can I call you Nick if you don't mind that? I'm just where you know, like people's identity. People sometimes want the handles. Anyway, let me know if I can't. I think like so. I was just talking about this. Like over the last couple of years, I've tried to write a piece of music every day. So kind of in the latest thank you. Certainly easier because I like, and also I don't want you to think I don't know who you are. So okay, yeah. In this latest batch of songs, it's these 6 tracks. This one, I know I want to mix it. It's kind of as much as I've taken, as far as I've taken it forward. But if you were talking about like over the last few years, I've written close to 1,000 pieces of music. And they're all kind of, they're all, some of them I've worked on more than others. And I've just got like, yeah, I've exported them all and was just talking through this on yeah, I know. So I don't like, I'd never think about. I'm never going to finish them in my life, but I have learnt a lot about having ideas, and in the process, I've kind of got a lot of crap stuff out of the way, just from writing so much. Yeah, I think there's lots of stuff, like, and some I've worked on more than others. I can't even remember what any of this stuff is. When was this done? 2004, 22. Yeah, and I kind of keep a note of all the stuff I want to try with it. And this probably won't sound anything like it did there. Huh. This was when I was doing a lot of like generative stuff. I went through this phase of kind of like really crusty stuff and kind of making things really bit crushed and dry. These were quite for hybrid definitely. So this was one that I just like worked on once, just had the idea. I would have done this all in one session. That bongo is quite cool already. Yeah, thanks, Nick. I think like like the whole jungle thing, the whole breakbeat thing has really only been the last couple of years, last year or so. just for sake of argument, right, and for like I've like that, I think I might move that forward. Right, just this random hybrid death meme track. I'll have to download all that stuff. Yeah, thanks, man. No, like, I mean, this is like and I've got like hundreds and hundreds of these just rough ideas, that I did in one session, and just the yellow means that I've bookmarked it, like I thought there was something there. So the hybrid death meme I have bookmarked. And it could be quite good to just take like the skeletal thing from it, listening back to it. I went for a big stage of like just massive generative sets, and I'd kind of record takes of everything. Again, this track was what? At the same month as that one. Again, that kind of bit crushed thing. They haven't listened to this for. So the one like this one, I'd move forward as well. I don't know how I've done half the stuff in this. So for those other ones, I would probably like. Okay. So that is another one that I'm going to take for it. So the other ones that we just played with, I kind of wasn't. There was nothing that was kind of hooking me in immediately. But like something like that one, Pollen Burn, I would just like, if I had to work on that again now. First of all, I'd listen back to the whole thing completely before I made notes on what I wanted to try. This hybrid death meme, from like the initial listen, I'd get rid of the kind of mad. I'd get rid of the mad. I think what like with in hindsight, with time to like completely forget about these things, like you realise you just can sometimes anyway. Like you realise listening back, like immediately what's working and what isn't, and what needs to go, and what the idea is. Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing is that like yeah, I think you're right. It's like systematizing it certainly, and that I'm always I'm always thinking about music, and I'm always I guess I'm just music obsessed, and I see it in everything. Yeah, man, totally. Like if I didn't have this, then it would be all over the place, and I'd never. It's like tracking my ideas. Really, is what the Trello board does, and that's a Mike Monday thing. Like, I suppose like a few years ago as well. Like I did ask the question. Okay, let's assume I'm doing this for a living. How would I do it? You know, because it is a pleasure thing, certainly, but like I could do this. I could do this every day if I had to. You know, I could make. I don't think I'd. I'm never. As soon as I sit down with some equipment, I know I'll come up with something, whether it's any good or not. You know. Yeah, like because I think people think like, oh yeah, I'll just get a record deal and I'll make loads of money from a release or whatever, which is not the world anymore. That's not how it happens. But like, like what if you are serious about this, what would what does that look like? Does that look like doing it every once a week on a Sunday, or does it look like doing it every day? And it probably looks like doing it every day. And what's the professional mindset to apply to like music making, even if it is fucking like artistic weird stuff. If it's weird electronic music or whatever, like I expect every artist of worth their salt makes it every day. Van Gogh painted every day, and Picasso painted every day. The countless other artists painted every day, all day, every day. And I see this. I see it the same thing with music. It's just kind of keeping track of it, really. So for me, sessions like this, where I just make notes about what I want to try, they're a bit like going and looking at the painting, or reading back through a poem or a piece of writing. It's like it's a non-objective or non-subject. Sorry, it's an objective look, not subjective. I try and kind of forget that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, those couple of ideas, I'll leave them in there, and maybe if we get time, like how many have we got to get? Like if we don't get a chance to listen, and why don't I do that for the sake of argument now? Actually, right? So I'm just going to put this. So hypnotise we were about to start with, but I think that's a really good point that Nick's brought up and stuff about older ideas. So let's do it with this hybrid death meme. Let's just give this a listen back, and I'm going to make notes about what I would try next with this. So I think I've heard enough of kind of that. Let's just put this in. I think it's probably because I thought it sounded a bit like the Nigerian pallbearer thing tune, the meme that did the circuit for a while at the start of lockdown. What I'm hearing for that is right. I want to hear it. I'll write my thoughts down as I have them. I want to hear it without the mad ravey stab thing. For me, it sounds like the thing is not that. The track is not that thing. It's that pad, the breakbeat, and the bongo loop with a kind of techno thing. So I want to hear techno, big techno kick. Forward slightly. Bongo loop. Okay, I'm not going to be like redesigning the wheel or anything with this track. I want to hear I want to hear a vocal element. Right, you could even try like piano, rave piano, maybe. These are just to get the ideas flowing again. Like, but I definitely know I don't want that mad ravey stab thing. To me, it sounds like what my ear's latching onto is that pad. That sounds very me, and I like the amen, and the kind of the amen. If I want to do anything more with it, I can come. That's certainly enough for a session anyway to work on. And pollen, right? I know in pollen, what listening back to, or certainly enough to try in that session. Let me just check it. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It's like that's, and to me, it feels like the pad is the thing. The pad is the that's what latched my ear onto it. Just listening back to it, it's the bongo, and then the pad. You know, you could even like if I had to lay that track out on the table, right? Bongo, like if a bongo loop, techno kick, slightly off rhythm, like so. Washed out vocal divas, bass following an emotive chord progression. The pad. 303. I mean, to be honest, it sounds a bit like a DJ Seinfeld idea, that, or maybe there's a track by what's his name? He was Ramadan Man for a bit. Pearson Sound. There's a Pearson Sound remix of some tune that's like got these things in it, and that is just like a drum track until this really cool pad comes in. I don't think I want to do that, but I definitely know I want to strip this thing out and hear it in another export with some of these ideas. Okay, so Pollen, that was this track. Now, Pollen just sounds like, that's a good title. I like that title. I'd leave Pollen just as Pollen Burn. That's probably because there was a so I know just from that little listen that I gave to it, like intro pad. Less auto panning or something. More direct. And these are tunes I haven't listened to for like 2 years. Something. And it's really just Nick kind of steering me down, asking how many tracks I had. It sounds like Boards of Canada or something. I just pick them out the air, you know, and I try and make them sound like, if I had to name this now, what would I call it? you know, and it's usually at the end when I save it and export it. I'd be like, you know, right, I need to. So sometimes they're pretty dreadful. And sometimes they're just the name of a preset. So I suspect pollen burn is the name of a preset. We'll have to see. We'll have to test that theory when I work on it. So I think we got about here. Like that crunchy. Huh. Right. Nice. Do I bring it back in though? That's cool. Huh. Huh. I don't know what I've done. That's certainly enough to. Yeah. Like opposites are pretty good, Nick. If you like, well, that's kind of what I like. Um, tiny giraffe or something, or soft lion. Or so, you know, like kind of contrasting stuff is quite good. Or maybe like da 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 da. That kind of like soft pollen burn, or I mean, even hybrid death meme could be a name. I don't think that certainly doesn't sound like it could be called hybrid death meme from this. So that okay. So for me, I'm hearing the arc as like this kind of like Tangerine Dream esque. Intro, floaty, driving. Switch up to static note on the bass ARP thing before slowly pitching down into into breakdown, then false kind of drop before reverse snares usher in everything. So I'd just like, next time I work on that, I'll just kind of like, I'll do that so the pad's a bit more direct and have a look at things, have a look at the session. And then I'll probably just really make it about those things. You know, see if I can just do this in one session. If I can get, this is the problem, you get too involved with stuff and you end up kind of losing where you were with it. Okay, well that's injecting a bit. That's injecting some older stuff back into what I'll be working on over the next few weeks and stuff. So like, okay, Channel X, I'm not going to make a note of because I listened to that in the car with my mum actually. But I listened to that in the car over the weekend, and I think, and I heard, I tested it out as well a while back on the slide. Alexander, how are we doing? The Channel X, right? Channel X is like a really long one that goes into a kind of techno donk ending, and I know that I just want the drums to come in once. That's all I want, right? But otherwise, I think it's kind of almost ready to start mixing down. At the moment, the kind of drums like fade in. The drums come in once, and I don't know if I want to chop them a bit more. This is a question that I can ask myself before I start working on it. Do I want to chop them? Breaks more. Because I feel like they're just... I'll let people hear it. See, I think I just want them to come in there, like that. Whereas I think that works. That definitely works for me. Hopefully I'm not shouting too much. I'm trying to get the levels right on streams. Pretty bloody hard. Yeah, cool. What's that? Yeah, that's channel X, and the drums come in. The drums come in once. Do I want to chop the breaks more? I think yes, I do. It's just kind of me. It's my sound, and I want to hear what they sound like with some more bits in it, more staccato embellishments and stuff like that. Um, uh, no pad huffs. Fast. So when it's doing, when the acid is going down, 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 I don't want the wah. I don't want that happening. I just want like really stripped back. Can't see that. Build. That's why. That's what I want to do before the kind of like just still, or to have it completely stripped down. I think with that tune, it's kind of like a. I've never done anything quite. Or it certainly feels like different to. Feels like a new area to explore. The kind of the more trancey goer, donk, jungle techno thing. Certainly feels like a bit of a new area. And there was a mate did a footwork set at the gig on Saturday, and it was really good and some really interesting kind of ideas and stuff. Listening to that set, and like particularly like acidy stuff and the more kind of weird choppage you get in footwork and stuff. Doms, how you doing, man? Um, so I'm not sure if that track completely works, but as I was talking to like a composer the other day, actually, he was talking about the idea of, well, that's the pot. It comes out and you make the pot, and I guess he's talking about pottery, or he was talking about pottery. And sometimes music's a bit like that. What comes out, and you can kind of steer it as you're making it, but at the end, it's a kind of finished thing. And whether exists in its own way, whatever you do to it, the pot is the pot, and really, it's kind of embracing it for what it is and moving on to something different if you feel like you can make a better pot, but you can't smash it and start again in a way. I suppose is the point of that. I don't know. It's quite an interesting thing to explore. Um, cool. So how are we doing for time? Well, I've been for 1 hour 20. Maybe we can do. I feel like we've just got to hypnotise and look ahead left to listen to there. But I actually think, why don't we do those another day, because that's certainly a lot of notes and stuff, and we listen back to some older tunes there, and we've certainly got enough to work on for the week. And I think I'm probably going to call it there, because I'm actually feeling that's probably a good place to stop. I've listened to enough like, how many have we got there today? We've got Channel X, Pollen Burn, Hybrid Death Mean, Channel X, Pollen Burn, Death Mean, Masterbit Force, Receiver, and Big Beats. That's 6 sessions. And I think I'm gonna take a little break now, and maybe I'll work on one of these off stream. We'll see. But thanks everyone for checking in, and yeah, expect more of the same over the coming days. My schedule is going to change up a little bit, I feel, because of living situation stuff, but I'll still be doing it every day or as close to that as I can. It's just it might be at a slightly different time. But then again, I don't think many people are around for like 8 a.m. starts UK. Yeah, cheers, Dom. It's good to see you checking in. Yeah, I realise that I start but my most creative time of day is the morning. Sometimes I have evening sessions and they go really well, but I know that's when I'm most creative and have and in my way least. I'm just able to kind of do it and embrace the creative moment in the morning, than in the evening where I'm kind of crippled by thoughts and weighed down by the problems of the day. So yeah, cheers, Nick. Oh, thanks for hanging in. Wasn't sure if you're there. So yeah, all right then. Well, I'll nice to see you on this morning, mate. And I'll thanks everyone for saying hi and everything. And I'll catch you in a bit. We'll work on these tunes over the next week or so.